So how are things with you?
Oh, good. Busy, but had some personal stuff going on last week. But thanks for your flexibility. But I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I came across you on LinkedIn. I think it must have been originally. But I was interested in some of the stuff you're posting on LinkedIn. As I mentioned, I run a Google Ads company, which I've built historically entirely inbound through books, SEO, etc. I've done lots of Facebook ads. So this is a real different move for me to move towards having inbound towards doing the email marketing. So I have got instantly set up. I've got 63 email accounts already connected. I've got some of them have been warmed up already. I've actually got some campaigns live in instantly already. But really, I'm kind of like just finding my feet with it. I'm very new to it. I have got a habit of jumping in and trying to learn everything I possibly can. But I think I really need to start with basics, which is what have you seen work with Google Ads companies so that I'm not like spending tons of time trying to figure this out to begin with? So, what's your general thoughts?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I mean, part of it is like when you approach cold email. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of it that are technical, and then there are the aspects of it that are more of writing copy and everything else, right?
Mm,
So, I'd say my general philosophy is it doesn't matter how good your offer is or how good your copy is if you're not hitting people's inboxes, right?
mm,
And Microsoft and Google are exponentially trying to make it harder to do so, right? So
mm.
if you think of the premise of cold email, there, right? It's I don't know if you use Google Workspace. We do for just our general emails. Some people use
Mm.
Microsoft or other
Yes, I
servers,
use
but
Microsoft. Yeah. Mm,
so, for your normal business, right, you would not send 25, 30 emails a day that all say the same thing out
mm.
to different people over and over again, Monday through Friday. So it's not hard for them to pick up on cold
Yes.
email, right? And
Mm.
even if you're using Microsoft or Google accounts to send it, these are these two companies who receive, I would say, 99% of the emails in the world. um, they're also, the two that invest billions of dollars in AI, right?
Mm.
So I think what I like to start and tell people is like part of it is we've got to make sure that we're doing things fundamentally on the front end with the setup and everything,
Mm.
and our sending approaches. And then we kind of move to the copy, right? Because
Mm.
again, it's a very crowded landscape when it comes to cold email. I mean, the good news
Mm.
is that most people don't know how to do it well. And so
Mm.
if you check your own spam folder, it's probably full of cold emails. And those are the people
Yes.
that don't even know how to hit your inbox.
Mm.
And we don't want to be those people because our
Mm.
offer is irrelevant, right? If we can't, most people aren't going to
Yes.
go to their spam folder and reply to emails. They're going to look in their
Mm.
primary inbox, and even then, it's how to differentiate yourself. So I would say, do you want to start by pulling up your instantly and let me take a look at it and give you some feedback there?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So accounts look good. Can you scroll down for me?
Yeah, sure.
Good picture there.
I bought a load from Inboxology, so that's the most recent ones are Inboxology, and I bought some of them. I bought from instantly. I've just been learning as I've been going from watching YouTube videos, etc.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I know Moyne real well, the founder of Inboxology. I use him a lot as
Okay.
well. I also am
Mm.
kind of piddle paddling with using instantly as well for
Mm.
setting up emails and domains. So I use kind of both approaches. There's definitely a little bit of a
Yes.
cost difference, but no, everything looks good. I like the fact that you use your own name,
Mm.
um, which is
Yes.
smart. You want to use first name, last name, some variation of that.
Yeah.
I would tell you like so. A couple things right away is how old are these accounts? So like it looks like they're all doing good from a health score, but how long did they warm up before, or if you sent
So
on any of them?
yeah, they I should have only sent with 2 week ones. Now I appreciate some people say a month, but I did have some which I've been waiting 2 weeks. So is the 2 week ones are the only ones I've sent with so far. that
Okay.
we're waiting, that
So
we're
that's
warming up for 2 weeks.
okay. So I would say definitely what we're going to want to do from the get-go is you're going to want to lower your sending volume to a minimum
Okay.
of 20 per day outbound to
Yeah.
start. So anytime you have a brand new account, right, minimum of 2 week warm up, right? And then
Yeah.
you want to start off really, really slow. Like I wouldn't send more than 20 a day for the first 2 weeks.
Is that
And
per
then
account?
per account. Yeah.
Okay. I think
And
I have it set
then
to 25 at the moment, so I need to lower it from 25. Is that right?
yeah, when I look at if you look where it says emails sent, it says 0 of 30. So right now, if you like just click into one of them.
This is one of the ones that's been being used. That one's not been being
Okay,
used to send anything yet. So I've only assigned certain accounts to the current live accounts. But if we
that
click
makes
at that
sense.
one,
But even those look like they're set to send up to 30. So if you click on the settings button there,
okay, I see. I might have left it as some default.
yeah, I think when they add them, it's defaulted to 30, which is probably they should
Okay,
lower
so I
that.
need
But
to lower it to 20 then.
yeah, and then so that next box over there where it says minimum wait time,
Yeah.
are you do you plan on using emails in more than one campaign at a time?
I probably won't. I'll try and aim to assign them to different accounts. I might do by
Yeah,
accident somehow.
well, and let me show you. I can show you some things on how to fix that, but go ahead. So, um, you don't have to change. Do you know you can change these in bulk? So I'm going to show you how to change
Yes, I
these in
did
bulk.
see that. Yeah, that's how I added my signature. It was in bulk. Yeah.
Perfect.
And the
Perfect. Okay.
custom tracking domain I added by bulk.
So that's good because we'll talk about that too. So I would say daily campaign limit should be 20 emails per day.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'll
then
change that in
you're
bulk
gonna
then.
where it says minimum wait time there, I would put a
Yeah.
7 there, like 7 minutes,
Okay.
8 minutes. And
Yeah.
the reason why is if you do decide to use them in multiple campaigns, it's going to put a wait time so that the same email doesn't send in the same campaign within 7 minutes. And that's all
Okay.
algorithmic, right? We're trying to
Yes.
send signals to Google and Microsoft that we're not a cold emailer. So that's why
Yes.
that's there.
Yes.
Um, you're not going to want to use custom domain tracking because
Oh, right. Okay.
you're not going to want to track your open rates. And so that's going to be that's a
Okay.
hard pill for most people to swallow because they want to see who's opening their emails. I
Mm.
will tell you, managing 20 different customers across the world and sending over a million emails myself, that when you track your open rates, yes, you're gonna know that through your analytics. The drawback is you're putting a pixel in your email that is
Yes.
a red flag to tell everybody that you're a cold emailer. Because, like Claire, if you were to like when you emailed me the other day to confirm the time, did you track
Mm.
my email? Did you track whether I opened it?
Oh, I might have done by accident because it came from HubSpot, which is linked to Gmail. So possibly.
Well, okay. So most people would say no to
Mm.
that question. Like you
Yes.
don't when you interact in a normal business manner, you don't generally track whether someone opens emails or
Yes.
not,
Absolutely.
right?
You're right.
So
Yes. Yeah.
that's why this is just a huge red flag.
Mm.
And I can tell you, like, I've run campaigns where in the very beginning, as soon as you turn it off, you will instantly see replies
Mm.
go up because you're just hitting more inboxes, right?
Yes.
So
I must admit, I had spotted somebody saying this already. So my campaigns, I am not actually tracking open rate at all.
good,
So
good. That's
yeah.
a positive step. So
So I
and
had read
and
that. Yes.
all that is to say that if you're not tracking open rates, then you don't have to worry about having a custom domain because
Okay. I feel very silly.
that's what that's
Yes.
there
Okay.
for. No, it's okay. It's not
Okay.
hurting anything, but if you were to turn open rates back on, you would want it. I mean, people will make a case that you should. I'm just a firm believer that it does more harm than good. And
Mm.
the other reason, just so you know, is it's completely inaccurate number because
Mm.
anytime you email like a decent sized business, they're going to have phishing software on their front end, and they're going to open that email to look for links to make sure you're not trying
Mm.
to. Software is pretty smart now. Like they know I've never gotten an email from your domain before. That's a red flag. Next thing, is it a phishing attack? Go in, open the email, scan for links. If there's
Yes.
links, then they'll run it through the software, right? So it in a lot of corporations, if you're emailing businesses, you're essentially just getting a bogus number back, and nobody really even saw the email. It was just tech
Yeah.
making sure that it wasn't a phishing tag. So those are the two reasons not to track it. It's good that you're not,
Yes.
so we can move on. Go back into those emails again because there's a couple of the things I want to show you. So keep scrolling down there. So a couple things if you didn't know. So have you those warm up tags right there? If you utilize those in Google or Microsoft and you add them as a filter, that'll stop all these warm up emails from hitting your inbox. So just a little trick there if you weren't aware of that.
Yes.
Like in Google, you can set up filters, right, and drive emails based off keywords to certain folders. So
Okay.
if you're in those inboxes at all, or you have the
I'm
replies
only
forwarded
using
to
the uni box at the moment. Is that
the
right?
Unibot, okay, yeah, then you don't have to worry about it. But some
Okay,
people like
good.
me, I have all my replies forwarded to one email, and so I don't
Okay.
want all the warm up emails, so I remove them with that tag.
I see. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Everything looks good here. A little trick I'll tell you is if you start to see, let's just say it's 6 weeks from now, and you start to see that an email is not performing well or a domain, seems to get no replies, it's likely that it started to hit IP or domain block list.
Okay.
And so one of the things you can do is take it out of sending. So you stop sending on it and see
Okay.
that button where
Yes.
it says disable slow warm up. You can click that button and just let it warm up for 2 weeks without
Yeah.
touching it.
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
will often recover, like it'll go back
Yes.
to a
Okay.
good status. So that's what that button's for.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
for now, since these are new accounts, you just want it to increase warm up one per day, like it's set there. So that looks
Yes.
good. See that show advanced settings button? Click that.
Yep.
Oh wow! So you somebody
Oh, I
somebody
was
helped
playing
you out.
around with this. I didn't know what I was doing with it. Well, I was playing with it.
No, this is so I do this daily, and the most common thing that's overlooked is this. So you
Yeah.
actually are pretty far ahead. So the only thing I would change is I would do weekdays only because
Okay.
most people in businesses only send emails on weekdays. So that's what
Yeah.
that does.
Okay.
It just keeps it to weekdays. Otherwise, these are by default set to 100, and I would have told you to change them exactly how you have them, which is open
Yeah.
rate should be
Okay.
about 80 to 90%. You want 100% on spam protection because if it hits spam, it's going to pull it out. And then the mark important, I tell people 15 to 25. So you've got
Yeah.
that
Okay.
good,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
great because most people leave those as 100. And then my line is, how many people mark my emails 100% important, right? Never.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
looks good. So that's that. Just make sure, like I said, you change those in bulk. Let's talk a little bit
Yes. Will
about
do.
tagging. Are you familiar with tagging?
A little bit, but yes, carry on anyway.
So tagging is relatively new to Instantly, but it's a huge advantage.
Mm.
I don't see on your screen the icon, which is really, really weird. So let me get into mine for a second, see what I'm. Can you click a couple, just two or three of those emails just a checkbox. I'm sorry, like two or three at a time, like
Oh, right.
highlight two or three of them.
Apologies. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. So just pick two.
Okie
Yeah.
dokie. Yeah.
So if you hit the tag button and then, so it looks like you kind of started that with
Oh,
lawyers.
yes. I was playing around with that. Yeah.
So it's really easy. You just select the ones that you want to tag a certain thing. You either create a tag or you have a tag like you
Mm.
have. Why this is important is because you've got a lot of accounts in here. So when you go to
Mm.
add them to the campaign, you don't have to add everyone manually. If you have had tagged them, then when you add them to the campaign, all
Yes.
you have to do is type in the tag. And
Yes.
so that
Makes
will save
sense.
you because it is a pain in the butt trying to type out every single one
Yes.
of these emails.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how I did it last time. Yeah. Mm.
I've done that as well. So good there. Let's go into campaign settings. It's good. So you're using the new website visitors function, which is cool. That's brand new. I'm using
Yeah,
that as
I'm
well.
a
So,
little bit irritated at the moment because everything keeps getting stuck in verified status. So no emails have gone out as of yet because every time I try and automatically add people, there it just says being verified and then it never gets added. So I'm in the middle of trying to sort that out with support at the moment.
oh, yeah, I haven't gotten that far. I've gotten them where I'm tracking them, but I haven't moved them into a campaign yet. So,
Mm.
all right. So campaign settings, let's go into small US law firms and look at that. And then let's go to just the options. All right, so this is where I was telling you, like in the accounts to use, right? You can just add the tag going forward if you want to.
Yes, perfect.
Um,
Yeah.
so it looks like you've got disable open tracking good. You have send emails as HTML only, so that's great. Show me the advanced options. So it looks like you did a really good job going through the recommended settings, right? Because most people take a lot of this for granted, which is good.
Mm.
What kind of accounts you got them from Demanology? Are they all Google, all Microsoft?
They are all Google or they're half Google and half Microsoft. Yeah.
Okay. So watch your Microsoft accounts really, really closely. This is not a Demandology thing. This is a
Mm.
Microsoft. I work with a lot of different big agencies around the world. They're having a lot of problems with Microsoft accounts. So
Mm.
the one thing to watch for is that if you start noticing your bounce rates go up dramatically, then that's probably so what's happening, it seems, is Microsoft is just randomly taking email accounts and bouncing every email that goes out with
Mm.
them. So if your bounce rate's sky high for whatever, you shouldn't be over 2% on a given
Okay.
campaign.
Yeah.
Where are you getting your leads from?
So some of them I bought from Instantly to begin with. Then I bought them from Apollo, but an Apollo reseller that I came across that directly downloads it from Apollo. And I bought a really sizable list of 50,000. And I then verified it with Million Verifier.
Okay, good. So yeah, you always want to verify anything you get from Apollo through a second verification point, which is good.
Mhm.
I would tell you when you get time, uh, learn as much as you can about Clay, because there's
Yes,
a lot of
that's
lot
what
of
I was
different ways to.
fascinated about.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing is right is thank you. The biggest thing is that you can pull leads in from Apollo directly and then do that verification automatically and push it into your instantly table, right? And
Mm.
like because Apollo is connected to Clay, instantly is connected to Clay, zero
Yes.
bounce, million verifier, all the verifying tools are there, right? And so
Yeah.
that's one reason, just for pure efficiency. But the
Mm.
other reason is you'll start to learn ways where you can pull leads, especially since what you sell is not doesn't have to be so niche, right? I mean, who
Mm.
doesn't, need Google ads, right? So the other
Mm.
aspect of that is it gives you the ability to be more creative and more specific in lead generation because like here's an example, like I teach businesses how to dynamically call the Google Ads transparency library
Mm.
and pull that data in via because it can only be pulled via API. So we pull that data in via API, and then I do that for SEO companies because they're selling SEO, but I want them to sell SEO to businesses that already know it's important to spend money on Google. Does that make sense?
Yes, amazing. Yeah.
So you can't really do that with Instantly Lead Finder, right? It's like
Mm.
LinkedIn or whatever, where you just go in, you
Yes.
filter down. And I've used hundreds of thousands of leads from Instant Lead Finder. Don't get me wrong, but um, whether you're doing Apollo, whether you're doing Instantly Lead Finder, other data sources, is basically like I'm going to filter down to the criteria that I think meets my ICP.
Mm.
When you start to get into Clay, you figure out it becomes signal driven. Like if
Yes.
anything that shows me that they're a good buyer, that and that why that's important as you circle back around to the cut why cold email is different than a normal business is that we in cold email we're thinking if we get a 2, 3, 4% reply rate we're doing really really well.
Mm.
But if you were a business and only 4% of your emails got replied to, you'd probably be shut down, right? So that's that's how Google thinks too, right?
Yeah.
So as you do this more, you'll start to figure out like I've got to do everything I can on the front end on the lead gen side to
Mm.
make sure that when I'm sending emails that I'm getting as many of those as reply to, because when you have like a 1/10 of 2/10 of percent reply rate, like I'm no joking. I have a client that we're bringing on board right now that sends 3.6 million emails a month, right?
Right. Wow.
And their reply rate is 0.2%. And they can't figure out, well, they know why, because they're using like big tools like Apollo and HubSpot to do emailing versus Instantly and other tools that have warm up pools, right? So they know
Mm.
why, but it just comes down to the fact that, you can spray and pray, which is what a lot of people do. Is just send as many emails as you can and hope that some percentage of those people get interested and you get lucky and you get some meetings and you book some calls and close some deals. And it may have a positive ROI,
Mm.
but your domains will cycle constantly. Like you will just continuously find that you're only hitting 20-30% of the inboxes. Or you get into and you start to figure out like it is much better to spend 5 times the amount of time curating a list of 1,000 people versus buying it from not random, but from an Apollo reseller, because
Mm.
you're using an Apollo reseller because that 50,000 leads probably cost you $100, right? Or
Mm.
something like that
Yes. Yeah.
versus, and again, I get it because I started from that perspective, but what you'll want to evolve to is like, how do I find the people that are the best, not could use your service, but are giving you signals that they're willing to invest in your service, and
Mm.
then curate that even more and then spend more time on the lead gen and the copy, because it seems counterintuitive. Like if I send less emails, that I'm going to get less replies, but you put the right copy in front of the right person that's giving you signals, then it just changes everything for, you know, you're
Yeah.
making this profitable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what would you do if you were selling Google ads then? Because obviously you've said like the SEO clients doing that. So what would you do if you were in my shoes right now, strategy wise?
I learned how to pull people that have run Google ads in the
Yeah.
past. I mean, obviously you can get that data in a couple different places. The transparency library is one. Um, it's pretty technical though to do it automatically, but the so even within Instantly, let's finish this and I'll show you the lead finder.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
There's some functions in there too. Real quickly scroll down just so I can see the bottom. I think everything looked good, but yeah, so it looks good. And then let's roll over real quick. This looks great. So everything's set up. Provider matching is good because you have both accounts.
Yeah.
The enable company reply stop, only use that if you're concerned that multiple people at the same company might get your email.
Okay.
Um, but if you're targeting larger companies, you're going to sometimes end up with multiple roles in your list, and you don't necessarily want your campaign to stop to all the other people because
Yeah.
maybe that reply is an out of office,
Mm.
right? So if one person, if you let's say you have 5 people from Pepsi in your list, and one of them are out of office, with that button checked, it will stop all 5.
Mm.
So just something
Okay.
to think about.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go to your campaigns, and then we'll talk about the leads. Small U.S. law visitors. So here's the good news, right? You've sent 609 emails. Did that one opportunity, was it legitimate?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. 95% of people can't even get one reply and they quit and give
Mm.
up. It's that hard. I mean, it is because, I mean, you did all this yourself. Didn't it take a lot of time to set all this up and learn all these settings, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you lose a lot of people there, right? Because it's somewhat technical. Instantly is making it easier with the done for you and all that. But
Mm.
um, and you obviously read through a lot of the material because your settings are better than most people I talk to. Like I
Mm.
can have an hour call with people and tell them to change their settings, and they'll message me a week later and they'll be like, "Wow, I'm getting twice as many replies," and it's just because of it's the simple things, right? But
Yeah.
everything looks good. So that's the good news. So I would tell you, just doing this at scale, without any advanced techniques, if you can get one interested reply per 1,000 emails sent, you're making progress.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I would be
So you're
happy
already
with
on.
that.
You're already, yeah, because it's a volume game. I mean, so you have how many email accounts did you have?
60, 60 something. I've lost count now. Yeah, quite a lot.
That's okay.
Mm.
So let's do the math on there for a minute. So
I think
let's just
it
say you're
might be 63, maybe.
63. Okay, I'm gonna use 60 because it's a round number.
Yes, yeah.
So if you do 20 a day on 60 accounts, right? That's 1,200 emails per day,
Mm.
6,000 emails a week, right? If
Mm.
you're doing only Monday through Friday. So 6,000 emails a week times four is 24,000 emails a month, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get one interested reply per 1,000, I'm not talking about reply rate. I'm saying
Mm.
just purely interested replies,
Yeah.
then you'll get 24 people a month that will
Mm.
tell you they're interested, right?
Yes.
You should be able to get 50% of those on a call on
Yeah.
average. And so that's 12. And then I don't know what you charge for your service, but let's just say you're moderately good at sales and you can close 20% of those people, of
Mm.
those 12. That's two, maybe three closes a month. And if your service is, a couple $1,000s a month, the ROI, there's just no question the ROI is
Absolutely. Yeah.
positive, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You've taken the first step, right? You've got all the
Mm.
setup done. You're barely sending because a lot of your emails are warming up, right?
Mm.
Still. But
Yeah.
you've proven in 609 emails that you can get interest, right?
Mm.
So that
Yes.
is a really, really good thing, right? Because honestly, I'm telling you, most people don't get there. They give
Mm.
up before they get there, or they send 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 emails, no replies. A week goes by, like this just doesn't work,
Mm.
right? So that's good. So let's go in there. But I wanted to acknowledge that because
Yes.
it's
Yes. Thank you.
challenging.
No. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
So click in there, click in that campaign.
Right.
Let's give a quick look at your copy. All right, one, two. How many steps do you have in the campaign? Three.
3.
Perfect. So that's a great number. Uh, your timing between them is good. I do two and two, but two and three is just fine too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you start to do this more and more, and you're managing a decent size infrastructure, just remember that you wanna you got to use the math between the two and the three as well as weekends to figure out how
Mm.
often you need to load new leads, right? Because,
Yes.
and I just do it in a spreadsheet. I do two, two, and two, right? So three
Mm.
emails, two apart. And then, so I know every 8 days I need new leads, right? Because
Yes.
there's
Okay.
always there's always a weekend when you do 6 day intervals. There's always a weekend in between, and so I don't send on the weekends. So I just know every 8 days I need to add new leads, and I put it on my calendar. And I do the same thing for my clients,
Okay. I hadn't
right? So
realized you would add new leads regularly because I've just got like 5,500 in there
that's
preloaded, ready to go.
so you can do that. Like for me, I don't like to be so committed. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I don't like I'm a data guy, analytics guy. I'm
Mm.
always looking at the analytics and stuff. And if a campaign is not performing, it's usually not technical for me. It's because of the lead approach and the copy
Mm.
approach. So I just don't bulk load only because but that's obviously another way to do it where you don't have to worry about
Mm.
it if like but it helps to have a spreadsheet to understand I have 20 emails in this campaign. I can send 20 a day. My capacity is 400. So like you've got to know what you're sending every day versus your
Okay.
leads. Otherwise, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but you're going to hit a point where you're not. you're not sending enough and you're wasting your capacity, right? So pretty
Yes.
easy to figure out with the spreadsheet is you know how much you can send on a given day, you know how many emails you have, you know how many are in the
Yeah.
campaign, etc. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Mm.
So from a copy perspective, it's really not bad. It's short. I like that it's short. The um the spin tax is good, right? Uh, One of the things that I think is very true, it's hard to do, but the more you can talk about them and the less that you can talk about you and your
Mm.
business, just inevitably, and I've A/B tested the same copy and just switch like one sentence. It does seem to work, right? So
Mm.
I think it because people get so many emails where it's like, hey, this is what we do and why it works,
Yes.
why it'll work for you. The more you can spin that around to them, the better. But technically, your copy looks great. It's short. I think that's very effective. The only thing um, that I think right away would make a significant difference is if you could find something from a AI perspective, lead perspective,
Mm.
where you can personalize it, right? Where you can
Yes.
speak
Yes.
speak
I'd
to
love
something
to.
about
Yeah.
them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That was my challenge is I couldn't figure out how to do that in here. So, because they're
You
all
have to use,
attorneys.
yeah,
Mm.
you'll have to use things like Clay to do that, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
mean, because there's some built-in stuff within
Mm.
instantly for GPT and stuff, but it's just not reliable. You would have to use like, in Clay, you can basically pull like every company's LinkedIn profile or stuff. And so part of it is just differentiating this email from other emails people get to say, you know, you do it from the signal perspective, like we were talking about earlier for leads, but then you also do it from the copy perspective to
Mm.
give the person the impression that you did your research, right? That's
Yes.
really what you're trying to do. And that's why personalization matters. But the copy is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the copy. It will work for
Mm.
you. And it's just a matter of do you want it to work more? And these, I would say the two
Absolutely.
things I see are shifting it more about them versus you.
Mm.
And then any kind of personalization. What are you using to send them a video? Are you going to manually record those?
I did actually manually record it for the one person. Yes. Mm.
And that's fine. When you start to get busy and scale this up, you're going to want to use tools like Sendspark
Mm.
or Reachly,
Yes. Yes. I've
where
heard of those
basically
two.
what,
Yeah.
yeah, and one of them is my client, which is nice, and the other one I'm a partner
Yes.
with. So
Brilliant.
I,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting them for that reason. I'm just because I use them both.
Yeah.
Um, you would basically like Sendspark is more of that Loom approach where uh, it injects like their first name with AI and
Mm.
everything else is the same, but it very much looks like a Loom video. And then Reachly is more of a landing page with the pre-recorded video where you can dynamically change the text on the page. Does that make
Mm.
sense? Where it updates the
Okay.
text. So both of those are
Yes.
good, but the lead magnet is good. I use that lead magnet a lot. Like, and I things like, can I send you a personalized video?
Mm.
It works because people are, it's not hard to say yes to that, right? There's no
Mm.
obligation to watch a video. So I think
Yes.
that's
She hasn't
good.
watched it yet, the lady that replied, the opportunity. So I'm going to have to call her and follow up. So, which I'm presuming that's one of the downsides of this method is saying yes was just so easy that I've sent it, but she's not watched it, even though I sent it. I replied within 5 minutes and then sent it within 90 minutes, but it was still not fast enough.
No, and and remember I was telling you earlier, like 50% of people who are interested you're only going to schedule 50%. And it really just
Yeah.
comes down to we all have very, very short attention spans.
Mm.
And so the timeliness does matter. And that's, as you scale this, that's part of the reason why you will move over to more automated programs so that you don't have to
Yes, for
manually
sure.
record it and cut down on the
Yeah.
time. But the other aspect of it is too is just people will be interested in something in 1 minute and they'll never come back to it. And it's just human
Mm,
nature. And so what you'll start doing is, as you tag this one as an interested reply, you'll build out your process that if you sent them a video and they haven't replied after a day or two, you'll create a subsequence of new
okay, that's what a
emails that bump.
subsequence is for. Right.
That's
Okay.
exactly what it's for. Yeah, and it'll be just
Yes.
subtle. We do subtle bumps, so like a subtle bump to them that says, "Hey, I shot you," and you could do it like via forward. And so the previous emails there, "Hey, I shot you the video. Just want to check if you hadn't had a chance to watch it." Like at that point, anytime someone engages, I stop the emaily, salesy type approach. It just becomes like a
Mm,
business conversation. Like, "Hey,
yes.
I shot you an email with the video. Did you get a chance to watch it, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Josh." And that, if you set that process up, I can tell you from just testing it, thousands of reply, it will close that gap. Like you will
Mm,
pick up, I would say probably one out of every three people you send a follow-up email to will then book. And
yes.
I've learned it's just because, and I think my theory is people are just busy.
Yeah.
They say they're interested, and then unless you hit them again, and it's funny how many people will say thanks for the reminder and then book the
Yeah.
call. Like
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
astonishing.
I'm a real stalker. I tend to follow them on LinkedIn and on their Facebook page, and yeah, I am very relentless with the follow up. So yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, and that's good. It's all about touch points, right?
Mm,
So again, it's like I noticed that too. I have a pretty big LinkedIn following, so I will notice when people will email me, and then the next thing I like, it's just a correlation. I remember seeing the
mm,
email, even if I didn't reply, and then I'll notice like, oh, that's a new LinkedIn. So it does work.
yes.
Like I see it
Yes.
happen to me. The only thing I would change elsewhere here. So good, you have no links, you have no HTML, which is excellent, which means you're going to hit more inboxes than most. I would change your subject line
Okay.
to what I use, and it works religiously, is hi first name.
Okay. Right.
And
Wow.
it could be some variation of that. But here's the thing. If I send you an email that says hi, Mike, hi Steve, hi first name, you're gonna have to open the email to figure out whether you know me or not. And that's
Mm,
why it works. Because we're
yes.
all busy. I mean, you may like, depending on what software you use, but like right now I'm looking at my Google inbox. I see the person's name and I see the subject. In
Mm,
some software like Outlook, they have two or three lines, whatever, right? But
mm,
most people, whether they're on their phone or they're in their computer, they're gonna see your name and they're gonna see the subject, right? And you think about this process of, especially busy people, right? You
mm,
always have 50, 25, 10 unread emails at any given time. And you're doing a triage, right? So
mm,
what's important, what's not? What do I care about, what's not? What do I delete? What's spammy, what's not, right?
mm.
So the high first name works so well because you unless you just can remember everybody in the world, you're like, do I know Josh or not? Like, let me click and see, just it
Mm,
just works, and it gets people to
yeah.
open the email, and that's half the battle, right? So
Yes. Perfect. Yeah,
um
that makes sense. Okay, I'll try that then. Would you do it as a variant? So actually test it like that
up to
here?
you. I mean, I can save
Mm,
you the time and tell you that. So here's the thing about A/B testing you got to remember too. Like, you're not going to know whether the subject line is better or not
oh, of
because,
course. Oh, yeah,
well, I
I have
guess you
set it
could.
to
You
reply
could
rate. I have set, yeah.
do both. I mean,
Hmm.
you could do the exact copy. Uh, I would tell you, like, use the benefit of the fact that we probably sent now 4 or 5 million emails with that subject line, and it works,
Mm,
right? So,
yes.
and I use it for every single client because it just
Yeah.
undeniably works. And
Yeah.
so, one of my clients is a tech company, and they're about to do voice drops as an option to send via email.
Nice.
We're already doing
Yes.
video, but so you imagine if I could get a voice drop in your inbox,
Mm,
wouldn't you almost have to play it? Like it's
mm,
almost like, I mean, and that's why it's going to work. And it's the same reason with with high first name, it just has that thing where you can't get away from it. You're like, I gotta at least see, did somebody I know, did they find $50,000 that I didn't know about, right? Whatever it is, right? So that's why it
Yeah.
works. And it's the same thing I think with voice drops and even video, right? And that's part of the reason why we're actually testing video in the first email, because you have to watch the video to know what they say, right?
Mm.
So it has just a psychological effect.
Yes.
Everything looks good other than that. I would stick with this. Of course, you can A/B test anything. That's not a when you
Mm.
A/B test anything, just remember only change one thing,
Yes. Okay.
because you're never going to know what's working. So every time
Yes.
I A/B test, I'm only going to change the subject line, or I'm only going to change, and you will find that even the smallest thing can make a huge difference, right? So
Mm.
even like the CTA, like, can I show you how this method will work for you or could work
Mm.
for you? Just reply yes, and I'll send over a video. Like, here's the like, if I were writing this, I wouldn't say just reply yes. I would say, can I send you over a quick video to explain more, or can I send you over a quick video? And that's it. Um, and you might find if you change that subject, that CTA line, then it might make a huge difference. Like, it's funny how the
Mm.
subtlest things, and some of it is not the fact that people are reading it different. Some of it is the fact that algorithmically, there's patterns of words that Google and Microsoft pick up on
Mm.
that they automatically say, like, and I know it sounds like Big Brother-ish, but you've got to think about these machines. They're seeing billions of emails a day,
Yeah.
and they can pick up on so many different patterns. And
Mm.
so part of the reason why, as you evolve, I would tell you to learn how to do most of this copy with AI, is
Mm.
because so like, I don't know if you know how Spintax works, right? But you have one,
Mm.
two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So you have a ridiculous amount of combinations that exist there,
Mm.
because each word can change every time. And so it's multiples of multiples, right? So
Yes.
like, it can be seeing, reverse, I'm just looking at the syntax, overtook, but every word can have every other word's variable. So it's a
Mm.
significant amount there.
Yeah.
When you start to use AI and you just write one or two paragraphs with AI, then imagine that changing to every single word of every single variation of every other word. It just becomes
Yes.
hundreds of millions of combinations.
Yes.
Uh, and that defeats the, at least from our perspective, it defeats the possibility that they think that we're a cold emailer, because
Mm.
everything is unique every time, much
Yeah.
like we would be if we were humans sending emails to 19 different people by hand every time, right? So
Mm. Yeah.
that's just one thing to think about for your. I'll teach you another trick too that will help on the follow-ups, step 2 and step 3.
Yep.
What I would do is I would say, so where the subject line is, if
Yep.
you type in capital F, lowercase w-d, forward, and then put the high first name or whatever subject line you
Yes.
choose,
Okay. Yep.
it looks like you took the email. Now you're going to have to cut and paste the first email below it, if that makes sense, in here. But
Yeah.
it gives the impression that you forwarded the email that you sent the first time,
Yes. Okay.
and it just hasn't. It's a very impactful effect, right? So think of it
Yeah.
from a,
Okay.
like, if I send you an email and then I'm like, hey, 2 days later, and it looks like I forwarded it to you, that's a different mentality of receiving that
Mm.
than just the same email with an R, or a new email with an RE previous email subject, right? So we do
Yes.
that on every campaign, extremely effective. We go as far as actually putting, like, in between the two copies, the forward dash message that you'll see in
Mm.
an email. We just copied the structure from Google, and it works very well. So that's a little trick that will help.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
So get the structure from Google. Yeah. Perfect.
and then I would also tell you, and you definitely want to A/B test this, but like, when you wrote this copy, out of these three, which one do you think is your best? Like, what do you think is your best copy out of the three that you have in there?
Well, I did 1, 2, and 3 sat quickly, and then I redid step one, and then immediately got the reply yesterday. So at the moment,
Yeah.
on the basis of one, I think number one is best, but I'm obviously
Yeah.
being biased by the fact that I got a reply from number one yesterday.
Well, no, and that's how you know, right? So I
Mm,
would tell you human nature in this process is everybody puts their best effort into the first email and it gets
mm,
decreasingly as good from there. Now, it's not universally true, but I would tell you like one of the things you want to evaluate is if email one is starts to continuously get replies, could you, and this is what we do, we don't put any effort into email two or email three. They're nothing
okay.
but bumps, right?
Yeah.
So we do all the work on the first email, and then the second email says,
Mm,
can you take a look at the below and let me know when you have a few minutes?
yeah.
And here's why I believe from my experience it works because I came from the corporate world. I wasn't a marketer for my whole life. And most of the times when somebody I interacted with, if I hadn't followed up on something they emailed me about, that's exactly what they would do. They'd shoot me an
Mm,
email and say, hey, Josh, can you take a look at what I sent you yesterday and let me know? So it's
yeah.
that approach versus the I'm going to send you my second best sales offer.
Yeah.
And, and and it just seems to resonate better with people, right? Like
Yes.
even
Makes sense.
oftentimes they'll be like, "Yeah, sorry, Josh, I was busy. I meant to reply," or looks good, but I'm just not good timing. Like
Mm,
if you were to look at our campaigns, you would be shocked about how nice people tell us no,
mm,
and that's what I want, right? And that's what you want because
okay.
back to the algorithmic thing
Yeah.
you you can probably imagine that it's not hard for Google to start flagging your account when all people write back to you is spammer, stop with your spam, la la la. When
Mm,
people start writing back to you like no thank you, appreciate you reaching out, but it's not a good time. When they start to politely say no, it helps you. And then
yes.
the other thing you need an unsubscribe option
Mm,
in your emails. I didn't see one in the first one. So what I would tell you to do is you need to put a sentence on at the very bottom of these
yeah, I
emails,
thought
like,
I did. It auto removed it somehow, but yes. Mm,
and you can just cut and paste it, but just a manual one and ask
yes.
them to tell you something positive to unsubscribe. So here's an example. Say, if you don't want to hear from us again, I appreciate that. Please let us know by replying with the words no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Don't use the word stop or something negative because again these are sentiment models, right?
Yeah.
And I'm an AI guy, right? These are sentiment models. They
Mm,
look at and rate the sentiment. And so actually I personally believe, and I have another client that does this a lot, the positive aspect of the stops even helps you more too. Like you
yes.
want people, if they're going to say no, to reply to you and tell you no. You don't want them
Mm,
to say no by not replying because that reply, even though it's a no, helps your domains, right? It
yeah.
gets that number up from 3 out of 100 to 5 out of 100 to 10 out of
Mm,
100, right? So, and you can obviously measure that with reply rate.
yes. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not in the US, and I mean these are US people I'm emailing, so I technically don't need an unsubscribe link. I probably should, but I'm not actually in the US.
That's true, and but I would tell you like emailing even people across Europe and the UK. I
Mm.
feel like they're when I email out to the UK and Europe, like they're even stricter to
Oh
me.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. That's why I'm not emailing the UK. It's
I
much
know.
easier to email the US, but mm,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, so because it's B2B, you're not legally required to do it. I would
mm,
do it in the realm of, uh, in the aspect of, I think it's just, it helps increase the positive aspect of how people reply to you.
yes, yes.
And you're going to find if you start sending sequence two and sequence three to people, like if they don't have that, they're used to that easy way to just either click a button or hit right back. And even in the business world, you're going to get a lot more negative. Like, you do not have an
Yes, good point.
unsubscribe option, even if it's in the
Yes,
US, right? Because they
yes,
expect it, not that you're
yes,
legally required to do it, right?
yes, yeah. Okay, but I will add that anyway because, like I said, it was meant to be in there. I don't know why it's not appeared.
Yeah. And I would tell you, like, with all this stuff, there is no black and white, right or wrong. You're going to find, like, that you get more replies, you know how to get replies, and then one day you stop getting replies, and it's because two of your domains hit a blacklist, and you got to figure out how to get those off a blacklist. And then
Mm,
I'm going to tell you send 20, and you're going to go, I don't care, I want to send 40, and you send 40 and you get 15 meetings, and then all of a sudden you're used to that, and then now that account can't get any reply. Like, it's very variable, right? But at the end of the
yes.
day, I teach people and I coach people all the time. This is how I run my business. Be conservative. Go back to the basic math of the fact that you can go to instantly right now, buy a $15.com domain, 3 accounts for $5 each for $30 in 2 weeks. I don't know the exact math on it, but you can basically hit 1,000 people a month, right? With a
Mm,
cold email. There
yeah.
is no, and you run ads, so you know this.
Mm,
There's no other unless you are just purely an expert at ads, there's no other
mm,
method by which you can get as much ROI with cold email
mm,
if you become good at it. Right? I've done
yeah.
it all. And I run a content marketing company and I grew that exponentially by using cold email. And um, the other side of it though is it's very, very, very finicky. Like,
Mm,
I was telling you about Microsoft. I mean, I have some real good friends that are Clay and instantly experts as well that lost some really big clients because they just can't explain to them why Microsoft decided that they don't like cold email anymore. But it's freaking Microsoft. Like, what do you do?
mm,
You know? So luckily for me, I hated Microsoft's setup when I tried to use them. I thought it was a royal pain. And we didn't have people like Moen and instantly doing it for us. So we had to do it all
mm,
ourselves. And I was like, Google sucks, but it's easier. And so I just always have used Google
mm.
and never used Microsoft. And so it worked out. But you never know. A month from now, Google could be like, we don't like cold emailers either, and so
Yes.
you try to
Yeah.
flew on to the next. I will tell you, as you do this more, like what I've learned from people like Demandology and Instantly and even Smartly, um, stick with the core fundamentals of using Google and or Microsoft because there will be all kinds of tech that comes along with
Mm,
private servers and so far every time people will switch to that it works great for a month and then you find out like a good example is Mailforge, just so you know, the big company that came out, they you know brought all these people over from Google or Microsoft and they're 2.5, 3 months in. Everybody's talking positive, and instantly says, "You can't use them. We're banning them from our warm up pool because they're." And this is we were basically we're a big reseller of some unknown company, right? So, like, I would just say what I've learned is like stick with the core fundamentals, and I trust instantly. I trust Smart Lead as well
mm.
because these are the guys that are managing, these are the companies that are managing all of our inboxes, right? So they can
Yes.
see all the data that we can't. And
Mm.
it's in their best interest financially for your campaigns to perform so that you buy more. So I know that
Yes.
they're doing everything they can behind the scenes from a technical
Yes.
perspective because they don't make money if you don't make money, right? You
Mm.
leave and stop
Yes.
doing cold email if you can't get results, right? So they're
Mm.
incentivized to give you success.
Yeah. Yeah.
We covered a lot. What have we not talked about?
Yeah. Well, that's all amazing to be honest. I'd rather wrap up now and ask you for the future, are you open to being booked once a month for paid consults like this? Is that something that interests you, and are you available to do that, Josh?
Yeah, so the link that you booked on, I just keep that link open. It syncs with my
Mm,
other calendars as well. Yeah, so
yeah.
from doing it, right? It's not like I
Mm,
charge $5 to do it. So
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
schedule any time uh that works for you. And I have
Yeah.
clients
Okay.
that I just a lot of them are agencies that are
Mm,
actually managing it for other agencies. And they just hire me because my technical background is AI and automation. So
yes.
that's where more that I help them. But yeah, anytime to schedule when you need.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. I will do. Yeah, it's been really useful, and I will definitely book in again. And I look forward to reporting back the results. And hopefully by then I'll have closed one or two by the time I next speak to you. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, I think you figured out. I mean, if you can get a reply in 600 emails, then you can get one, you can get 10. It's just
Mm,
scale, volume.
absolutely.
What I will do is I'll get the notes from the call as well as the recording. So I will
Okay,
shoot that over to you
perfect.
today. It usually takes an hour or two to process, but once I get it all,
Yes.
I'll shoot it over to you. And then just if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yes. Okay, will do. Yeah. Okay, great.
And
All right then.
thanks
Thanks.
again for your flexibility as well from doing it
Yes, no
from next
worries.
week.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Bye for now then, Josh.
Thank you. Have a good day.